Really? 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 Anyway. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, bacteria, children, adults, teen, Ellie, welcome back to another discussion video. This time we're doing movies, and oh boy, is this one to discuss. Now, for those of you who haven't seen the Rampage trailer, I do suggest going to it because I do want to talk about it. Well, that's what I'm talking about. And I don't want to play any footage. Well, so I'll show screenshots, but that's about it because I don't want to get copyrighted. At the same time, I don't want to play it because I think that'd be a bit too redundant, I guess. I don't know. I don't see the point, whereas you could just go and watch it instead of me just putting it here because, I don't know, I guess you can call me lazy, but whatever. But anyway, let's talk about it, and let's talk about what exactly the movie Rampage or this trailer is about specifically, because I'm pretty sure some people might not know. Surprisingly enough, I do, because I was surprised when this came out. My initial reaction to the trailer was that I thought this was based off, well, not based off anything, I just thought it was something else entirely. But later on in the video or the trailer itself, I knew what it was based off of. And I'm kind of scared, ashamed, and I also thought, like anyone else, oh god, not another video game movie. And yep, it's another video game movie. God help us all. Anyway, so what is Rampage, the video game, or video game series, just so anyone can understand? Rampage was a side-scrolling beat-em-up-esque game. It's not really beat-em-up where you beat each other or the other players up or even an amount of people. You destroy, you just basically destroy stuff like buildings, cars, and eat people. You were basically like monsters, and in all honesty, I think it was kind of a self-parody of certain other monster movies to some degree. It didn't really focus on story too much, but it did focus on a lot of destruction, point-based systems, and originally, yeah, it was an arcade cabinet, and then, you know, got ported onto stuff, and then had sequels afterwards. So, that's the game as in a nutshell. My personal connection with Rampage, the series as itself, the first game I did not play. I did play it on my channel later on, but that was way, like what I call, that was way before I ever played the first Rampage game that I played. So the first ever Rampage game, the arcade, the NES port, I didn't play them until way later. The first game I ever did play of Rampage was Rampage World Tour, but I only played a little bit of it. I don't remember much of it, but I played a little bit of it. The one I know the most, and that I actually owned and played the most, was Rampage Universal Tour, which was a sequel of World Tour. And the next game in its series, Time Travelers or Time Turnover, whatever you want to call it, whatever it's called, I'll put it on screen, I guess. I don't think I ever did play until like later on. But I did play Total Destruction, Rampage Total Destruction, which was a GameCube game that I actually did play at a friend's house, and I thought it was fun. It wasn't great or anything, but it was fun for, you know, a little bit. So my history with Rampage, the series as a whole, is that I liked it. Honestly, I did. But I didn't think it was that great of a series. I just thought it was okay. And I was genuinely surprised when they announced that this is what it is. It's a Rampage, the video game movie trailer for the movie. And, oh boy, there's a lot here that is bad, but at the same time there's a lot that could be good. Look, I'm just gonna say this outright just so some people aren't confused. I'm not saying just because The Rock is in here that I don't like it, because I'm pretty sure some people will point to that. And some people have issues with The Rock at the moment. In all honesty, I don't care. I don't hate him, I don't dislike him, and you know what? He's The Rock. He's likable, and you know what? Maybe he'll be the most likable thing in the movie. At least I'm giving the benefit of the doubt. But, as a whole, the whole trailer doesn't look good to me in a lot of different ways. For example, the whole trailer sort of has this odd way of progressing most of the story and showing how most of the story might turn out. It does have some secrets here and there, but a lot of it feels like what other video game movies do, or video game, or adaptations of anything product related do. Basically, it considers itself way too serious to some degree. There are some funny moments, but still, it considers itself way too serious for what it really was based off of. Now, I'm not saying that's not bad, considering the Rampage games themselves could be considered kind of dark, considering that you kill people, you eat them, and you destroy a lot of city and buildings, but it doesn't look that good as a whole. It does some things that you would expect. It shoehorns a certain character that really doesn't have really a particular influence on the game, which was Dwayne, and tries to make them more akin to how they react to the story. You know, just a character would react in a video game sense, like as if the video game just became alive. To some degree, I can understand what they're doing here, and you know what? It's not that bad. Not that bad of a trailer I've ever seen. But it does focus heavily on the action, and it shows at least little bits of the story that you can at least see and already guess as to what they're going to do. For example, one story element that I think could work, depending on how you spin on it, and depending on whether or not it'll actually make the movie, like if they actually continue the movie and make a series out of this, because I'm pretty sure they're going to try to make a series out of this, guys. Like, call me crazy. But if they actually do continue with it, I think it's kind of smart that they do this, but to some degree I think it's also kind of bad, but depends. But anyway, the story setup is that 3 wildlife animals, which is already kind of, well, it's technically doing a bad thing, but I don't know, have been infected by a weird chemical virus thing, or chemical component that was launched from the sky, from somewhere, either by, I think it's just by a mysterious force, and it transforms the animals into larger, more aggressive versions of themselves. A white gorilla named George becomes infected, and I'm guessing they made him white because you have to make sure that it can't look too similar to King Kong, you know. But they made a white gorilla look named George, bigger than he was before, and he's on a rampage destroying the city. There's also a giant wolf, just a wolf, mind you know, like a regular wolf on 4 legs, also giant. And finally, they have an alligator, which was revealed at the very end of the trailer, which also looks like, you know, about the same as a regular alligator. Listen, the thing with Rampage is that it didn't really have too much of a cohesive story, and even during its PlayStation era of games, you know, World Tour, Universal Tour, Time Travelers, whatever you want to call that one, I put it on screen, I'm pretty sure you'll read what it says. Those three games technically had a somewhat connecting story. It's not the greatest, but it's still a story at least. So I thought it would be based off of that, and you know what, maybe it's trying to build up to that, but to some degree I'm also kind of disappointed in it somewhat. Again, it's a movie based off a video game. What am I supposed to expect? Something very good? In all honesty, I don't know. But from what I can see, it somewhat seems lazy to some degree. I don't know. I could be wrong, and maybe they'll take it a lot more different than what I'm looking at. But at the same time, I kinda don't. Because, like, the lizard, or the alligator, in this case, at the very end of the trailer, feels like as if it's coming in during the middle to / third part of the movie. At least to some degree, that's what I'm seeing, at least. So, what are the issues in terms of, you know, the monsters in this movie, compared to their counterparts in the video game? Well, George, Ralph, and Lizzie, which are the, you know, I'm pretty sure going to be the other names for the other monsters. And for those of you who don't know, George is the gorilla, Ralph was the giant wolf, and Lizzie was the lizard. Although it's not really stated whether or not she's a crocodile or not, she's just a lizard. Actually, I don't know whether or not it's a she or not. But anyway, these 3 monsters were the main 3 characters you could play throughout the entire series. At least in the first Rampage game, arcade cabinet, and also in the PlayStation series of games too. So, what exactly were they exactly in the games? Just so anyone, just to explain it real quick to people. Well, they were anthropomorphic humanoid creatures who looked, had the features of their animals respectively, but were more humanoid and had fists and could stand up on two legs. In the movie, the animals, at least for George, I can understand they could just make him into a giant gorilla and it'd be fine because gorillas stand upright and move stuff with their hands. But Ralph and Lizzie, which I'm going to refer to them as that, are a lot more animalistic. They're just bigger sized animals, which I really don't see them as a full threat or a real problem, but at the same time, it kind of denotes from their origins of their, character designs at least. Now, the story in Rampage, the PlayStation Saga, which I'm going to call it that because these games were, sort of were mainly put on the PlayStation 2. No, the PlayStation 1's game console. And yes, I know they're ported to other stuff, but that's where I mainly played, 2 of them at least. So, the first game in the series explains that the reason why these animals exist is because of a soda research center, or just, not even a soda research center, just like a, well, actually, I think it is a soda research center. I'm not sure. Because, like, I think I'm getting this confused with Total Rampage's story. Total Destruction's backstory. Well, one of the stories states that a miscellaneous group company was busy trying to do stuff with genetics, and they mutated 3 humans into a giant wolf, giant humanoid wolf, a giant humanoid gorilla, and a giant humanoid lizard. And these things went on a rampage and destroyed everything. In that specific series, a lot of crazy stuff happened. After those 3 monsters are defeated in the first game and captured, shrunk down and kept in respected places, in respected different areas, the company that made them in the first place rebuilds and starts trying to do the genetics thing again, and this time they create 3 other creatures that are also going on a rampage. A rhinoceros, a mouse, and a lobster. Yes, a lobster. These 3 giant monsters also set out and destroy stuff, but they also along the way seem to free off the other 3 original monsters for some reason. I don't know why they do it. But after that, after destroying everything on Earth, aliens invade in the second game, and the now 6 giant humanoid monsters battle off against the alien invasion because, after destroying the entire planet, you want to protect it by destroying the aliens. And they actually get sent off back to the aliens' home planet itself, and they destroy that home planet as much as they can, and then they head back to Earth, then they head back to Earth somehow, and the events of the third game are that the people who also, made those monsters, I think they're called something code or Scumbag Labs. The Scumbag Labs create a time machine so that way they can, send people into the past to fix the problems way earlier, or fix certain things way earlier after the monsters destroy stuff. And the monsters enter that time machine, and they go throughout time, like, the beginning of time, well, not the beginning of time, the beginning in certain different parts of human history, and destroy parts of that. And that's what the third game's about. I don't know how that particular game ends, but I read on the wiki that it kind of goes off the rails a bit. But, just keep that in mind. So, having that in mind, I can understand where this might be going, and to some degree, maybe that's where they're trying to do this. But at the same time, I kind of doubt it. I don't know. I like, the thing with foreshadowing is that if, depending on the director, they can make it look very good, but at the same time, things in Hollywood can make you screw that up to some degree. Because here's where I think they're trying to go. I think they're trying to set up, at least to some degree, a similar storyline from the Rampage PS saga, where the aliens in space will bring in a huge factor to this, to where They're the reasons why they made 3 of their Earth's animals really big and are trying to destroy stuff. At least that's what I think they're doing. I could be wrong, and you know what? Maybe I am, because you know what? I don't think they really care about the Force side of that anyway. But maybe they're trying to set up a series of games where they not games, of movies, to where they reflect on the PS Saga game storyline, which I just explained is kind of bonkers, so maybe they'll have fun with it and try to be more ridiculous in that regard. But from what I've seen from the trailer, it looks like as if they're taking this more seriously than you should, at least to some degree. I can understand, people are dying, buildings are being destroyed, and possibly you have to kill off 3 innocent animals that really didn't want this to happen to them. And there could be a possibility of even more animals that could be transforming into bigger, larger forms of themselves, destroying a lot of different cities. I can understand that. But at the same time, this movie's premise is based off of an arcade cabinet where 3 large rip-off monsters are trying to destroy different stuff. And trust me, I'm pretty sure that was the intent to some degree of the original Rampage arcade, because it's no coincidence that you can play as a giant gorilla monster that destroys a city, also a giant lizard monster too, and also a giant wolf. Okay, the wolf is a little bit less obvious, but I'm pretty sure the other 2 are more obvious if you can think about it. So that's my opinion on it. Okay, to sum up everything, basically, in my opinion, I don't have a lot of confidence in this movie. I really don't. I don't think it'll be good. I think it'll be maybe mediocre at best. It'll be bad at worst. Like, it doesn't really give me a lot of confidence in it, and I really don't think it'll be that great overall. The only thing that really gets me to think that this movie might be decent enough is that maybe they might bother, trying with this movie. I don't know. Overall, I don't think this movie is going to be good. At best, I think it's going to be mediocre or alright, honestly. And whether or not that's a good thing is kind of debatable, because if it's an okay movie at best and people sort of like it, they don't hate it. But if it's okay, then like Hollywood would think, oh hey, let's make another movie about this, but try even lazier to make another movie from this because it did somewhat well. Or they could be like, maybe we should try with the next movie. I don't know. Hollywood works in different ways, and the people who also make the movie work in different ways. So I don't know whether or not the people, like, whoever made the movie will bother trying either next time, or maybe they won't bother trying next time. It really all depends on whether or not this movie does well enough or is received well enough. My predictions, maybe it'll do either badly at the box office because it's a video game movie, and or it'll just do bad because it's not good. So, I don't know. It's up to whether or not anyone really bothers watching this movie or not. My suggestion, I don't know. Wait for like people or critics to actually review this movie before you go and see it. I mean, like, maybe some YouTubers, not actual, like, critics. People who've seen the movie. So, or have been paid off. Not gonna say anything about that, but that's all my suggestion is. I suggest, like, watching it after certain reviewers have seen it and give off their opinion. If it's okay, I guess you can go out and see it, but that's really all dependent on you. All I do know is that having a Rampage movie sounds kind of dumb. I mean, I'm kind of glad Rampage is getting some attention again, but at the same time, it's a little bit, like, I'll admit, the series wasn't that great and all, but, I don't know, it's kind of nice to have some attention to Rampage again. But anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe for more, and if you did, and if you did, well then, just stay tuned for more, and, well, I'll see y'all next time in the next video. Until then, sayonara, my bots. Ooh.